Hey there, thanks for clicking on this video. You have found the channel Mr. Articulate, where I record a video of between 5 and 10 minutes in length and post it to YouTube every night. My goal when I make each of these videos, regardless of what the topic that I'm talking about is to cultivate my ability to organize the things that I say so that I'm not just kind of stringing together a bunch of sentences, but rather stringing them together purposefully so that there is something of a beginning and a middle and an end to the things I say. And I also am trying to practice doing that organizing as I go, on the idea that I will only ever be as good at speaking about ideas or experiences that I find interesting as I am able to construct the speeches in something close to real time. So the video that tonight, the topic for the video tonight, is going to just be a bit of a review and a summary of an article that I just read on the Free Press, which is a website. I call it an article. Really, it was an essay. The essay was called "Oh Holy Crap," and the author was Walter Kirn, who is a pretty famous novelist. And the essay was published in 2002, but I just read it for the first time tonight. And Kern's essay is a short little musing. It was honestly a pretty lightweight exercise, but it was on a topic that I think is incredibly important, which is that the manufactured goods that are available for us to buy in 2025 are far worse than they were in 2005, 1995, 1985. The further back you go, the better the manufactured products get, and the closer you move along the timeline of American history to our present day, the worse they get. We all know that. We all know that the things we buy break down on timelines that are so much faster than the timelines that the exact same products broke down when our parents were young, or when our grandparents were still in the prime of their lives. So he lists a bunch of different examples of little things in his own life that just aren't up to snuff. He talks about the fact that he has had to buy coffee grinder after coffee grinder because they keep breaking down within a year or so of him buying them, even though you could have just bought one coffee grinder in 1975 and it would probably still be working today, literally, which is just so hard for people more in my age bracket to understand. Vacuums that break down constantly, that's definitely one that has been a huge problem for my wife and I feel like our vacuums are breaking down every year. And he talks about failures in his washer and his dryer. He talks about little things like carrot peelers that don't really peel carrots very well. He had a number of other smaller examples, which I'm forgetting, but the essay was more about complaining about the obsolescence of so many things we have in a lyrical way than really making much of an argument. So I would say I know Walter Kirn is a great and very capable writer. This would not go in a collection of the best essays of Walter Kirn. This was very dashed off, and like I said, I would characterize it as sort of a lyrical exercise more than a probing essay. But he does, to the extent that he does make a bigger argument, he does make a reference back to John Ruskin in the 19th century and William Morris, who both made the argument in the 19th century that the quality of manufactured goods in a society will have a profound effect on the spiritual wellness or ill health of the people in that society. I first encountered that argument by Ruskin when I was probably a teenager. Didn't think much of it at the time, one way or the other, but Lord, as time goes on, and the thing I see most often around me in the world is just what garbage our newly constructed houses and condos have become compared to houses that you can still find standing all over the US that were built 100 years ago and are just, to a non-expert's eyes, instantly, obviously, visually better products, aesthetically and in terms of materials used and in terms of construction techniques. And modern buildings, especially ones from the last 10, 15 years, it's just unbelievable. You feel like you could put your palm up against the wall of one of these condos and give it a strong push and the whole thing would collapse. But I digress. But as we go further into history, the more that I think Ruskin might have really been right. He might not only have been making a interesting poetic point, he might have, in a very brass tacks, nuts and bolts way, been right. I think that this whole society we live in is cheapening and it is coarsening. And I mean that in terms of the type of art we produce, the types of conversations that we have with each other, the types of values that we bring to our work, to our families, to our recreation. And it is interesting to note that our culture is cheapening and coarsening at the very same time that our manufactured goods are doing the same. And chicken versus egg, I don't know which comes first. But at any rate, when Kirn refers a little bit to those old ideas of Ruskin and Morris, that was the closest he comes in the essay to making something of an argument, saying that all this planned obsolescence in our goods might just be having an effect on our souls. So that's it. That's about as far as I'll go tonight talking about the essay. But like I said, it was titled Oh Holy Crap. You can find it on the Free Press. Kirn is a great guy to follow on Twitter. His tweets are really strongly written and have very strong and unusual perspectives. And I definitely believe that the people who are the best writers in long form are also often the best tweeters too. You would think maybe that people who excel in long form writing would struggle in the short form of Twitter, but I actually think good writing is just good writing. So at any rate, Kirn, great follow on Twitter. I'm sure he's got a lot of great essays. I can't frankly recommend you go read this one though. So that is it for this video. If you watched to the end, thank you so much for sticking around with me. I will be back tomorrow with another video, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day or night.